live. So today is stretch and strength yoga. We are going to probably make use of blocks. So if you have blocks or something that you can use that's similar, they're going to be handy. We're going to do some creating space, taking it easy today. So we're going to start down on child's pose or crocodile. So make a choice. You can come to child's or crocodile. So crocodile is fully on your stomach, face down, one hand on top of the other, or child's knees down. And find a way for it to be super comfortable. So if you're coming to a child's, maybe putting a fist on top of a fist, using a block to put under your head, something so that you're comfortable, but a little pressure point right in the forehead. So you can start to just connect to that space. So bringing yourself into the present moment, grounding, arriving in the now. Landing on this space and trying to create like a little sacred space, almost like walls around your mat, so that you can land in the present moment in time and let go of what has yet to come, and let go of what all has already been. Arriving in the present moment, finding your breath, and noticing what comes up when you try to breathe in this shape. A little bit of compression on your front line. Notice what happens physically or mentally. And begin to make your way slowly up to a tabletop position. We'll go right into moving and breathing. So inhale, tabletop. Exhale, send your hips backwards to child's. Inhale forwards and exhale backwards. Trying not to worry too much about the shapes that you're making, but about having a meditative experience, starting to get into the mind-body connection. Feeling your hands on the feet, hands on the ground. And taking some movements in whatever way feels good. Moving the hips around, sending them left and right, taking little circles, lifting your hands. Rolling through the spinal movements, noticing how your body feels today. And then come on up to a tabletop, and we're going to begin to take slow circles. So inhale as you lift the left arm up, roll it around in a nice slow circle, taking natural movement. Exhale as you bring it back down. Same thing on the right. Inhale, lift, make a circle, big round circle. Exhale, replace the right hand. Starting to move with your breath, making space in the shoulders. Feeling your hands and your arms. And then return to tabletop. Tuck the toes and send the hips up and back. Begin to warm up your down dog. So pedal the legs, take your hips side to side, whatever feels good. And then with a nice bend in the knees, making a little space, lift up out of the hands. We're going to start to take circles with the legs. So inhale, lift the left leg, make a circle. Exhale, return it. Inhale, lift the right leg, make a circle. Exhale, return it. So moving with your breath, and again, making whatever movements with your body starts to feel natural. We're not doing a lot of strength and restricting the muscles. We're just starting to move through range of motion, feel where our bodies are at. Finding your breath. And then find the stillness of down dog. Connect with your head below your heart. And find a nice, slow, steady breath. Bend the knees, look towards the hands, and either float or take little tiny steps until you get your feet underneath your hips. Land on your feet, bend in the knees. Place your hands just on your thighs for support. And we're going to take little tiny circles through the ankles. So moving the weight around the feet this time. Finding movement and then reversing your circles. Just moving around the feet and the ankles, finding your feet on the ground, finding some movement. And then bend the knees deeply. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead, prayer to heart with the exhale. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. One more time. Bring your prayer to your heart. Center and ground, feel your feet on the ground, pick up the toes, wiggle them around, and then place them back down. And then we're going to take our little circles more with the focus on the knees. So bending the knees, take some circles with the knees. And then reverse the circles. And then focus up on the hip area. So I'm going to turn so you can see me better. Take the feet a little bit wider, and we're going to take circles with the hips. Littler circles, warming up the hips, feeling the movements the hips can make. Nice steady breath, and reverse the circles. And then working our way up, we're going to work the upper back. So take right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. We're going to try and restrict all the rest of the body and just move through the upper back. So take little circles as if you're just trying to use upper back. Small, soft, find some space. And then reverse your circles. Bring it back to center, switch your arms. So take the left hand to the right shoulder, right hand to the left shoulder. And again, small circles, upper back. Notice if this feels different. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Sometimes we have different holding patterns. And then back the other way. Notice what's going on in your neck. Notice any gripping in the lower back. Maybe you have gripping in the feet, in the lower body. Just notice, bring it back to center, release the arms, and take a little side sway just to reset. Tap it out. Find your breath. Step your feet back in about hip width, and then bring some strength into the legs. So you can imagine you're pulling your feet apart so your legs are strong and active. So pulling the mat, trying to rip the mat with your feet without gripping the toes. Stomach a little engaged. And then we're going to take torso circles from the hips. So keeping our base locked a little, not overly locked, we're going to take some torso circles. So just finding some space, finding some movement. Feeling how your body can move. And then the other way. Finding slow, steady breath. Bring it back to center. Loosen the body, loosen the legs. Hands to prayer. Bring your prayer to your heart center so you can feel that connection. Find your breath. Remembering the chin down towards the hands. Then take slow, slow, slow circles with the head. Just trying to feel every possible way that your head can move. And then back the other way. Watch for compensation patterns. Notice if you're gripping in the low back, around the knees, in the face. And then bring that back to center. Reset. And then we're going to inhale up and swan dive it down. Touch the earth. Step the right foot back. Land the right foot so you're in low lunge left side. You can use your blocks here. So finding your blocks to just lift yourself up out of the joints a little more. Help remind you to lift up out of the ground rather than sink into it. Lift. We're going to inhale forward. Exhale, send the left leg towards straight, maybe even lift the toes. Inhale forward. Exhale back. So starting to find movement in your legs, warming up all the muscles and finding the ways that your legs can move. Come forward on the left leg and untuck the toes on the right foot. So you place the top of your foot down and then pull it towards you as if you're trying to pull the foot towards you without letting it move. Activate the leg. Stretch the front of the foot, open up the top of the leg. And then lower down onto the right knee. Maybe place a blanket under the knee if you have sensitive knees. We're going to send the hips back towards the right knee. Lift up the toes on the left leg. So start to feel this left leg. Maybe you can come up, maybe you need the blocks. Start to feel the left leg wiggle around so you can find the point where this feels like the right spot for you. Keep it on the hips. Try to keep them even, and then start to move through this left leg. If you prefer static stretch, you can pull the toes towards the shin. Feel like you're pulling the heel towards the knee without letting it move. Otherwise, take a stretch where you're moving through the muscles. Wherever you're at, pull the toes towards the shin. Try not to lock the knee. Keep the energy flowing through the knee, the leg. And then turn the foot out to the left. And then turn the foot in towards center. Out to left. Into center. And then point the toes down. Take the toes over to the left. Feel a different place in your leg. Fire up. And then turn the toes in. Feel a different place in your leg. Fire up. And then plant the left foot down. Return your blocks if you need them. Tuck the toes on the back leg and lift up nice and slow and with control. Lower the knee, lift up. Lower the knee, lift up. So starting to use the muscles in both legs to control and slow this movement. And then if you have the blocks, landing on the blocks, landing on the left leg, maybe coming up and pointing the toes on the right foot. And maybe making a little circle here. If you're working on your balance, you can bring your arms up and take your little circle. Lots of layers, lots of levels you can take this to. Maybe you just want to focus on the legs. And then lower the toes. Hands to the floor. Left foot meets right high plank. Breathe and hold. And then lower the knees and lower all the way down to crocodile pose. So, one hand on top of the other, forehead down, crocodile pose. Shimmy the hips. Loosen, soften, let go. So we'll build a little strength across the back line. So bring your hands to wherever they're comfortable, just for guidance and balance. Start to activate the whole back line and lift the shoulders. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Starting to use the whole back of your legs, your glutes, your low back, your mid back, your upper back, everything active. Watch for compensation patterns in the low back or in the neck. Be mindful to feel like you're lifting your shoulders and not the skull. And then return to crocodile. Shimmy the hips, let go. Reset, find your breath. And we're going to come up to Sphinx pose. So bring our forearms down. Not strong and active this time. We're just making space. So place your forearms down where you're comfortable. Maybe your forearms are a little further ahead of the shoulders. We're not looking for a super huge arch in the spine. We're just lifting the shoulders, making space like we're trying to pull the chest through the shoulders. And then we're going to make some space in upper body and shoulders, just turning. So turn and look towards the right foot. Turn and look towards the left foot. And allow the shoulders to start to find some natural movement. Inhale as you come through center. Exhale as you turn and look. And then bring it back to crocodile. Reset. Breathe. Tuck the toes and make your way through child's to a down dog. Find your down dog. Grounding into the hands and then lifting up with the hips. Let go of the tension in the face and the neck. Bend the knees, look towards the hands and hop or step all the way up towards your hands. Land on your feet. Bend the knees. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Center with your prayer at heart center. See if you can soften the toes a little more. Soften around the knees, soften the low back, soften the face and shoulders. Land on your feet. Maybe even close your eyes for a couple of breaths. Experience what it feels like to stand on your own 2 feet. And then inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive it down. This time, step the left foot back and land in a low lunge, grabbing your blocks if you need them. Inhale forward in your low lunge. Exhale, sending Right leg towards straight, maybe even lifting the toes. Feeling your legs. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Land on the left leg and untuck the toe. Land on the right leg, untuck the toes on the left. Land the top of the foot on the ground. Feel like you're pulling it back towards the hip. Activate the whole front of the foot, front of the left leg. Breathe. Slowly lower the knee down and send the hips backwards towards left knee. Adjust as you need. Find the position where you can have your right leg landed and lift the toes. So adjust and then feel like you're pulling the heel back towards the knee. And you can start to move the foot or keep it static. And then wherever you're at, pull the toes back towards the shin. Take the toes all the way in towards center. Take the toes all the way out towards the outside, towards the right. Back to center. Out to the right. Point the toes. Maybe use your blocks for balance. Turn the toes over towards center. And then turn the toes out. Center. And then out. Land on the right foot. Bring the weight forward. Tuck the toes in the left. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, lower. Starting to really be slow and strong and steady in the legs. Finding leg muscles. Not just sinking into joints, but finding muscles. Building strength. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Try not to grip the ground with the right toes. Soften the face and shoulders. Come forward on the right leg. Maybe adjust your blocks. We're going to start to lift up that back toe. And then maybe taking little circles here with the left leg, maybe even challenging your balance here, trying to take your circles while balancing. A lot of attention to the lower core here if you're trying to balance. Breathe. Soften the face, even when you're challenging yourself. Find your breath, keep it steady. If you're taking your circles, take them the other way. And land the back toes, frame out the front foot. Right foot meets left, high plank. And then lower down all the way to crocodile. For some reason, I always creep up on that. All the way down, crocodile pose. Shimmy the hips. Breathe and let go. From here, we're going to start to work the legs a little. So lift right leg, trying to keep the upper body soft, steady. We're going to lift the right leg and take some slow circles here, little tiny circles. So just trying to feel and make space in the right leg. Feel the glute fire up, feel the whole leg fire up. And then switch directions. And then hold the right leg out and imagine somebody came behind you and just tugged it a little longer, and then let it fall down to the ground. And then notice left and right sides. Pick the left leg up, little tiny circles. And then reverse your circles. And then hold the left leg up. Imagine somebody gave it a little tug, made it longer, and then let it place down. Notice left and right sides. And then give the hips a shimmy. Let go. Imagine you could send your breath right to this low back area. So you just made your legs longer. Imagine you could send fresh breath right to the low back area, really softening and making space across the low back. And then hands underneath shoulders, tuck toes. Make your way through child's pose, this time coming to a seat. So come on up to a seated position. Easy seat. If we're gonna take some movements here. So if easy seat is not your favorite position, feel free to adjust. You can place your feet down on the ground, knees up, whatever feels a little better on your own hips, your own body. We're gonna take upper body movements. So if easy seat's not your best friend, don't choose it. Choose something else that feels a little better. We just want to have long spine. So start to feel a little grounded. We're going to place the left hand on the ground, and we're going to take circles with the right arm. So inhale as you start your circle. Exhale as you round it back. Inhale, open. Exhale as you round it back. So starting to just move through the upper body in whichever way feels good. And then land the right hand down, other side. Left hand lifted up. Inhale, open. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, open. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale up. Exhale back. And then land both hands down by the hips, either easy seat or feet on the ground. So landing, feeling your hips on the ground, feeling a little connection with your hands on the ground. Maybe you need to lean back just a teeny bit. If you lean back, engage the stomach a little bit. Breathe. Imagine getting longer in the spine, as if somebody grabbed a string on your head, made space for your vertebrae. And then we're going to come and take circles with the torso. So moving the rib cage, bringing the torso round in circles. Not too much engagement, just moving through range of motion, feeling which muscles make the movement. Still nice, slow, steady breath. Other way, reverse your circle. Bring it back to neutral. Bring the right shoulder in a nice slow circle, then the left. And then place your hands behind you, feet down on the ground, and you can use your blocks here too. So feet are going to be on the ground, knees are up, hands can be placed behind you, whatever way is comfortable for your wrists. So we're not worried about the wrist here. We're going to engage the stomach, and we're going to try and engage upper arms. So landing, getting set up first, making sure your base is strong. And then we're going to bring our weight backwards onto the arms, squeezing little pulses. And then landing in your base, removing the blocks if you're using them, tiptoe your fingers back Land your fingers and then feel like you're pulling your chest further, further, further away from the fingers. And then slowly bring the upper body back up. Take some shakes. Shake it out. Release the arms. And then over tabletop to down dog. Find your breath. Lift the hips up out of the ground. Bend the knees and step the right foot about halfway towards the right hand. Bending both the knees. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, find the hips nice and centered. So try and get them even. Bring your hands here to make sure they are even. And then place the back foot down wherever is comfortable. Straighten up the front leg and bring the hips forward. So, lots of ways to take this pose to start to make it more active. You can feel like you're pulling the right heel towards the left foot. Start to activate the back of the right leg. You can feel like you're pushing the right heel away from the left foot. Slightly different muscle activation. You can bend the back knee a little and lift the heel of the right foot. Lift the toes, come onto the heel of the right foot. Just watch that you're not jamming the right foot into the ground and yanking on the knee. So we want to look for muscles activated, not ripping into joints. So not placing pain in joints. Breathe. And then come forward on the right leg and tuck the left leg a little behind the right leg, curtsy pose. So land here, find your hands of prayer, heart center. And we're gonna take little tiny squats, very slow and controlled, and curtsy. Making strength in different angles, slow, controlled. Connect with the muscles that make this movement happen. And then if you want to challenge your balance, you're going to come forward on the right leg and lift the toes on the left and continue with your little tiny squats. And then bring it back to curtsy. Settle in, center. Step it back through pyramid. And then framing out the feet. Touch the ground. Right foot goes back to meet left. Find a down dog. Step the left foot a little bit towards, halfway towards the left hand. Bend both knees. Inhale, rise up, and then land the right foot down. Find your hips. Try to get nice and centered with the hips. Hips are even. One hip's not higher than the other. Check in on that. Active legs, and then bring the torso a little forward and play with how you're activating this left leg. Pulling the heel towards the right heel, pushing it away, lifting the toes. Try to get longer in the spine, so you're activating this whole front line in the torso. Breathe. And then bring the weight onto the left foot and start to bring the right foot behind the left, curtsy pose. So tucked behind on an angle. Center, bring your hands to prayer. Check in on the hips, try to have them even. We want to try and get them nice and even, active around the hips, active in the legs, and then little tiny squats. And then if you want to play with your balance, you're going to bring the right weight onto the left foot, lift the right, and continue with your squats. Land your curtsy. Bring the right foot back to pyramid pose. And then bending both knees, frame out the front foot, send left foot to meet right, and then make your way to down dog. Find your breath. Find a little movement in a down dog, your last down dog of this practice. See if you can loosen the head and neck and shoulders a little more, lifting up out of the ground with the stomach. And then lower the knees and return to the position you started practice with, either child's or crocodile. So whichever you started with, return to the position and notice what is different. And then bring the upper body up to a seated position, this time bringing your feet out a little bit wider than the hips. So find this position, find your legs in this position, take some movements first, so make some space. Move the legs, point and flex the feet, take a little side to side, moving the hips, moving the legs, feeling the legs. And then turn and face the right foot, look at it, activate it, lift up with the top of the thigh, not the back. So don't lay back so you can get it up. Lift the foot with the leg. Make some space and then little tiny circles. Reverse your circles. Lower the leg. Take a little shuffle, let it go. And then look at the left. Lift the left leg with the left thigh, not the back. And then little circles. Reverse the circles. And then make your way to your back. So come on down to your back. If you have straps or something that you like to use, make them handy. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. Look. Come on down, bring your knees in, give yourself a little hug. Take the feet up to the ceiling and just experience your feet above your heart. So point and flex, wiggle, take ankle circles, whatever feels good. Find your breath and start softening and letting go. So land the left foot on the ground, knee up. and grab a hold of the right leg. So either hold the thigh, you can hold the toes if you can grab them, hold the shin, or maybe wrap a strap. But find the place where the right hip remains on the ground and you're making space in the right leg. So not trying to lift this right hip up because there's some kind of goal, but just trying to feel the back of the right leg. And notice how it feels. Maybe you feel like you have a little more space than perhaps you did when we started. Maybe you don't. And then bend the knee and take little circles with the knee. And then reverse the circles. Land the right foot down, knee up, take the left foot up. Remembering to keep the hip planted on the ground, and then find the back of the leg. Again, you can take these stretches static, if that feels good, or move the foot. Feel the muscles as you stretch. And then bend the knee, take little soft circles with the knee. And then reverse the circles. And then bring both the knees in and take both knees in circles. Soft circles, just connecting with your base. And then reverse the circles. Land the feet down, knees up. Take the hands up, spread the fingers wide. Close the fist, spread. Just starting to move through the hands, nice and slow. And then move through the wrists, nice and slow. Slow circles. Feeling the wrists, feeling the ways that the wrists can move, and then back the other way. Soften the face, the shoulders, the hips. And then take the arms in soft circles. Maybe make your circles bigger, just kind of feeling the shoulders and what the arms and shoulders feel like they need, and reverse the direction. Land the arms down about shoulder height, palms up. Have the hips and the knees and the feet be comfortable. So find that position where your feet aren't too close to the glutes or too far away from the glutes. Just that position that feels correct and comfortable for you. We're just going to move through upper back again. So we're going to take a big inhale. With the exhale, take the left hand all the way across past the right. Tap. Inhale as you come back open. Exhale, right hand past the left. Tap. Nice and slow. Inhale. Exhale. Try to do this movement through the upper back and not through the hips. So the hips aren't frozen. And the hips are not the primary movers. You're allowing the hips to just kind of go with the flow. Really thinking about space around the upper back and shoulders and letting the head just kind of roll around on the ground wherever it feels like it should go. And then land with both hands, palms up, about shoulder height, and take some wiggles and adjustments so that you can land on the ground nice and comfortable. And take a couple of breaths, breathing in, and then releasing into the ground with each breath out. Letting your shoulders feel a little heavier. Letting your hips feel a little heavier. And then bring your shoulders all the way up towards the ears. So squeeze the shoulders up, 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 up. Let the hands do whatever they're going to do, thinking just about the shoulders. Squeeze them up. And then push the shoulders down on the ground. So maybe bring your hands down by your hips and really push the shoulders down. Push, 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 push. Bring them all the way up and all the way down. All the way up and all the way down. Allow the hands to just soften, and the arms to soften, and the shoulders to soften. Find your breath. Take your chin all the way over to the right shoulder. Connect with the left side of your neck, feeling the muscles on the left side of your neck. Take your left hand and place a palm down on the ground without pulling, but just connecting with the ground and connecting from the fingertips, the palm, all the way up the left arm into the top of the ear. Feel that whole left side, neck, arm, shoulder. And then let it go, let the hand go. Lift the chin all the way up and over to the other side. And connect with the muscles on the right side of the neck. And then place the right palm down and just connect with the hand, the arm, the shoulder, the neck. And breathe. And bring the chin back to neutral. Take the right knee and cross it over the left. Bring the knees towards the chest. And then feel like you're pulling opposite feet to opposite shoulders. Activate the feet. You can place your hands down on your shins. Find the right glute piriformis area on the right side. Breathe into the space. Slowly unravel, left over right, knees in towards chest, feet to opposite shoulders, left side glute piriformis area. Slowly unravel, both feet on the ground, knees up. And then we're going to take a little reset for the hips. So wiggle the hips left and right or lift and lower, depending on which feels better for you. Some people like to lift and lower, trying to look for that soft cellular reset. So letting all the muscles in the lower body wiggle and jiggle like they were a bowl of jelly. Let go, loosen and soften. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, suddenly release and stop moving. And notice where the body lands. And then rub the palms of the hands together, make them nice and warm. And bring the palms of your hands right underneath the rib cage. This is the space that we typically connect with our emotional center. If you think about when we get butterflies in the stomach, when we're nervous, when we're excited, tend to feel it physically in this space. So we're going to connect to this space. Feel the warmth of your hands right here in this space. Feel your breath as it moves your torso. And notice what is present here. Maybe even asking yourself, how am I feeling? What is my emotional state right now? And try to ask in a curious way, without judgment or without the concept of what you should and should not feel. Opening to the concept that emotions are just filters for our environment, that the point of emotions is to flow freely. They come and they go, and they can be happiness and sadness and anger and all of these things all at once, or some more than others. There are no right answers, just inquisition, just inquiry into Spanish Inquisition just came to my mind. Just inquiry into ourself and how we're doing. Rather than asking for answers, just observing, being here, being present for ourselves. And then bring your focus to your lower stomach. So leaving your hands here, bring your focus just gently pausing and viewing around in your lower stomach, around in the hip area, and then around in the chest area. Notice if one or both of these spaces seems a little active right now, seems a little energetic. Or maybe just your emotional space seems warm. Just notice. And then if one of these spaces, if you feel like your hips, your grounding, just feels like it needs a little attention, bring your hands to your hips. If you feel like your heart center perhaps needs a little protection, a little warmth, bring your hands to your heart center. If not, just proceed to open up, allow your shoulders to start to melt into the ground. Find a couple of breaths, just bringing some attention internally. And then letting go, arriving on the ground. And allowing the ground to carry you. So making space in the physical body. Allowing the ground to support you so that all of the muscles can begin to slowly turn off, to let go, to loosen, to soften. Feeling the parts of your body that are touching the ground. Perhaps even taking the time to say to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. I can turn off. I can take a little break. Begin to let go of control of even your breath. And imagine that we've made space for those emotional center, that emotional center to be free, to flow. We've made space for the breath in the body. We've made space for the muscles to feel strong so they can let go of their gripping. And then bring the focus into the head. And imagine we could make space for the thoughts that are present. Just as we made space for joint movements, we made space for the spine, we made space for the breath, just as we did all that for the physical body, and then a little for the emotional body. Imagine for the mind, we could make a little space. Imagine as we focus on a closed fist, our fist so tight, we close it so that we know what it feels to feel like a fist is gripping it. And then we loosen it and soften it and let go. And know what it feels to have it soft and loose. Imagine you could do that same thing around your thoughts inside your brain. Imagine that when you're fighting your thoughts, you've made a fist in your brain. And imagine that you could slowly soften, loosen the gripping. Allow the thoughts to just flow. Making space and allowing them to flow and do as they do. If you have more time to take in your resting pose, please feel free to take more time. If you have to finish up at the 60-minute mark today, we're coming right on that 60 minutes. Begin to bring a little awareness back to the physical body. And curl up in a ball in a fetal position, whatever side is calling to you, grounding down and arriving back in present moment in time. Taking a little moment to acknowledge that spark within. Connecting in. Remembering your essential self below all the layers, below the layers of the emotion, the layers of the physical body, the layers of experience, the layers of mental chatter. And then return to a seated position. And before bringing your hands to prayer heart space this time, maybe taking a moment to warm up the hands and bring them either to the heart space, the emotional space, or maybe your base, your stomach, your hips, your legs. Finding what you feel you need a little connection with today. Taking a couple of breaths. Maybe you need a few breaths to feel grounded, your hands on your legs. Maybe you need a few breaths to make some space for your emotions, your hands underneath your ribcage. As if giving your body permission to feel what it feels. Not forcing happiness over sadness, but allowing your body to be free to feel how it feels without judgment, giving it space. Or maybe you need a little connection to your unconditional heart, your unconditional heart center. When we think of our ability to send unconditional love out to maybe people in our lives, or even puppies or babies giggling, we find it easy, but sometimes we find it extremely difficult to send that unconditional love back to ourselves. So maybe taking a couple of breaths to connect to this space, as if wrapping ourselves in unconditional love. And then finish your practice with your hands at prayer at heart space. Connecting with this gesture of bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our heart, as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. May we all feel a little space, a little freedom, a little space to feel what we feel without having to feel as if we need to judge our emotions or our thoughts. A little space to just be as we are without enforced or imposed happiness or sadness might be. May we all know a little love, light, and connection. Thanks for joining us.